I'm Chef Sam.
And I'm Chef Ellen.
And we're going to be showing you how to make a pizza today.
First off, you want to make sure to wash your hands. It's always important when you're working with food, but especially right now, we need to be extra careful. Get a good amount of soap. Make sure you're getting the backs of your hands, get it between your fingers, your thumbs, all in your nails if you can. And then you can sing the happy birthday song to yourself to know how long you need to wash your hands, but it's about 20 seconds. And then we do a good rinse. And now you're ready.
So this is going to be the ingredients for our pizza kit. We've got some sauce, we've got cheese of course, some pepperoni, and a couple of different types of veggies. We've got bell pepper. This is a sweet pepper, it's not going to be spicy. We've got some mushrooms, some olives, and of course our pizza dough.
First, we're going to oil our pan so our pizza dough doesn't stick.
When you're making this at home, you can use a pizza pan if you have one. You can use a baking dish. You can also use some parchment paper, some foil, anything that you have readily available to you at home.
And you want to make sure your pizza dough is as flat as possible before it goes in the oven, otherwise it won't cook all the way. There's two options you can do. You can either pinch and pull to make your pizza dough flat, so before you start rolling, you want to make sure your pizza dough is at room temperature and flat. And then once you put it on the pan and you're still not happy with the thickness, you can kind of pinch and pull it out to make it thinner. And you can make it into any shape you want. So you can make a heart or a perfect circle or a square.
So next we're going to work on cutting our veggies. We're going to start with our bell pepper first, if you want bell pepper on your pizza. So with the bell pepper, what I like to do is the bear claw method of cooking. So you make kind of like a bear claw. You got your claws out like you're going to get somebody. And you just want to hold on to this bell pepper nice and tight with your bear claws. That gives you a nice sturdy base, so it's not going to move around too much. You get your knife and you just kind of cut on the outside. So you can cut nice thin pieces. You can also go across and you can cut some smaller pieces if you prefer smaller pieces. But I find the bear claw method works pretty well for anything that's sort of flat like our bell pepper here. So you're just kind of holding still and slicing through. Make sure you're keeping your fingers pulled back there. And then you've got your nice bell pepper pieces. So a fun thing you can do with your pizza toppings is you can turn your pizza into a face. So this would be something pretty good for maybe a mouth if you want to, or if you've got some smaller pieces, you could use them for eyes or a nose. So if you want to make some art with your pizza, just kind of think about the shapes that you're cutting up. So next we have our mushrooms. If you're making a face, you could just do one long slice like this. And that makes a pretty good nose, kind of right there in the middle of your pizza. Sometimes I like to take the stem out, makes it a little bit easier to cut. It also makes it a little bit flatter so it doesn't roll so much on you. If you're cutting it with stem on and you've got it on the rolly side, you can try the bridge method of cutting. So you're gonna hold it on both sides, that keeps it nice and sturdy for you, and then your knife goes underneath with this method. Mushrooms are pretty soft, you shouldn't have any trouble cutting these, they just kind of fall apart on you a little bit. You can just cut them in any shape size that you want to. Good nose.
That's a good nose.
So with your olives, you can leave them as they are. They're pretty small pieces already. You can also do what we call the rock and roll method. So you get a few olives, you put them in a little pile. You're gonna take your knife and put your hand flat on top like this, and then you go up and down, back and forth. Just cutting those olives into really tiny pieces, sort of like confetti. And this is called mincing. So you can get these olives really pretty small. And that way, they're great for sprinkling over your pizza. So with your pepperoni, you can of course leave them whole. It's usually how I see them on a pizza. But you can also cut them up if you'd like to. I like to just sort of stack them. Just makes cutting a little bit faster. Just sort of go across using that bear claw method, keeping your fingers back. You can, of course, if you'd like. If you want to get your hands a little bit messier, just do some tearing also. It's up to you. Your pizza. You do it how you want. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble our pizza. We've got our sauce here. Just a little spoon. Place some right in the middle. You can go extra saucy, light sauce. And then I like to take the spoon and use the back and just sort of push it around. Spread it out. You want to make sure to leave a little bit of a border. If we get too close to the edge with our sauce, sometimes that has a tendency to burn while it's cooking. If we keep it on top of the pizza, it'll stay nice and saucy. And now the best part, the cheese. At least my favorite part. So you just want to kind of sprinkle around. The cheese will, of course, spread out and melt as it's cooking. Kind of fill in any holes. Just get a nice even coverage. And now your pizza's ready for your toppings.
So we're gonna make a face with our toppings for our pizza. So we got our little mouth for the bell pepper. Put that there. And then we got a really good nose. And he kind of looks like a little mustache too. And then we'll put some pepperonis for the eyes. And some olives for the pupils. And we can do some ripped up pepperoni for some hair. There we go. Sprinkle that in with the hair. Perfect. And you got yourself a little face.
So we have our oven set to 425. That's for our temperature for our pizza. We set it ahead of time so it's preheated, ready to go. We're gonna get our pizza in the oven. You can have a parent help you with that if you're uncomfortable reaching into the oven. And then we're gonna set a timer. Our pizzas cook anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll start with 10 minutes. That way, if it's not done in 10 minutes, we can add the extra 5 or just a couple, whatever it needs. Cook it for 15 minutes to start with, and sometimes it gets a little bit overcooked. So we'll start with the least amount of time. We can always add more if we need to. So our pizza is ready. We checked on it and made sure. It's looking beautiful and is happy to see you. So now that our pizza's out of the oven and it's cooled a little bit so we can touch it, we're gonna go ahead and cut it up. You can cut it in however many pieces you want to. I'll do 4 today, why not? There you go. So now you've got your pizza ready. All that's left to do is enjoy. Long distance cheers. Cheers! Cheers! That was a good pizza.